Welcome to another podcast of Master Investors Company. Today's topic is going to be how to profit from inflation at any time with financial IQ. I'm going to leave the link below of a blog that I wrote for this specific podcast. Make sure that you follow us on all platforms at Master Investor, and I hope you enjoy. Please leave us a comment, like, and share if you find this valuable. Defining inflation and learning how the wealthy makes money from it. It starts with the knowledge we know about money, business, and investing that will define how well we do it in any type of market. Remember, creating wealth is not about predicting the market, it's about being prepared for any type of market. The true inside investors, we learn to cash flow and acquire cash flow and assets that do great in any market. An asset is something that puts money in our pocket without us being present. What is inflation? The simple definition of inflation is when prices rise and the purchasing power of a currency drops. It means that we can buy less with our money than in the past. All economies experience inflation and deflation at some point. But where it gets troublesome is when the income levels of a population don't track with or exceed inflation. In that case, people become poor, even if they think they are making more money. So it boils down to leverage and hedging to be able to thrive in an inflation market. And I listed the different ways inflation can happen. There are actually four, and there are three types of inflation. There are four ways that it can happen. There are three types of inflation. The first one is creeping inflation. The second one is walking inflation, and number three is hyperinflation. And number one, creeping inflation, is the lowest. It usually carries about 2% inflation rate, which a lot of times the population consider this as healthy for economy because employee wages can keep up with it. Walking inflation is an acceleration of inflation in the 3 to 4% territory. This starts to become harder for wages to keep up with, and people begin to feel poor. Hyperinflation is extreme inflation that can go as high as 20%, 100%, 200%, or even more. So remember that the answer to any type of inflation is financial literacy, acquire the knowledge, and understand how to acquire cash flow and assets with OPM, with other people's money. Usually if the bank becomes your partner in a deal, then that means you have a green light because the bank is not going to put money into something that is not great for them. And they have a CAMO score. It's like a credit score. The more assets the bank acquire in their portfolio, the more they can print money. And so it's in the bank's interest to lend money to the people that are finding deals that will do great in any economy. So if the bank is already in the deal with you, then that is a green light that the deal is great, because the bank is going to take a look at what deal you have put together. So it's about finding a deal, learning how to put it together, and then money will find us. Right here at Master Investor, we teach exactly how to raise money, because that's the number one job of an entrepreneur, is to raise capital, and the number one skill is to sell. Usually if we have a deal put together that is lucrative, then it sells itself, because money will find us, and there's a lot of money to be placed into great deals. And many people do not have the time to put a deal together. So that's what we're taking advantage of, making something very attractive and lucrative for others to put their money into. And when it comes to the bank, then even better, because then the bank becomes our partner, and then there's an infinite potential to acquire more cash flow and assets. So building relationships with the right banks is critical by bringing them great deals, great cash flowing assets, and the bigger the better. So it's important that we understand that cash flowing assets is what really makes the wealthy at any economy. So it's not really about predicting the market, it's about learning how to profit from any type of market with cash flowing assets. Here at Master Investor's company, we play the bank's game. We borrow money from the bank at a fixed rate, buy a cash flowing asset that covers the debt payment, and using less of our own money increases our return on investment because we have zero money in the investment. We're using borrow money, which is the highest financial IQ for an inside investor, is to learn how to raise capital and put in a deal together where we don't have to even use any of our money. It's not necessary because the bank and others are putting their money into our deal because it's so attractive. In an inflation economy, if the debt is fixed, it becomes less of a cost as the dollar loses purchasing power and our investments and income grows. In other words, once we have a great deal made with the bank on a certain loan, if it's at a fixed rate, that means it doesn't matter where the economy goes, that rate will stay the same, meaning that we can end up paying that loan back with very cheap dollars, right? And basically we will obtain the asset for free. And the bank, remember, is in business to what? To lend money. So they're looking for people like you and I to raise capital, to put it into work in a cash flowing asset. So the reason our investments and income grow is because we purchase assets that hedge against inflation. For instance, in inflation economies, rents generally rises. When we purchase investment property, the debt payment stays the same while our rents rise due to inflation. So in other words, our deal with the bank stays the same, but our deal with the renters do not stay the same because inflation happens and it shifts is going up, then we have to charge more for the renter because it takes now more money. And so they will have to pay more, and then we still pay the same amount to the bank. So now we are actually making more cash flow than we started from the beginning. So it's amazing how financial IQ and financial literacy can make us more money. So that's why here at Master Investor we said knowledge is the new money, because it does not take money to make money. It takes knowledge, and it takes an idea backed up by confidence. This creates more cash flow. We owe the bank only the agreed payment. The rising costs for rent flow straight into our pocket, not the bank's pocket. In other words, the bank is not going to turn around and says, okay, because you're charging more money to the renters, now we're going to charge you more money. No. The bank just wants that fixed monthly payment accordingly, and so we can charge more to the renters. And then if we can find a property where we can actually increase the value of it by doing improvements, then even better. In other words, if we can paint it, if we can put new washers and dryers, if we can put new doors and all of the good stuff that a good property should have in place, then it's even better because now we can add more into that renter fee. We can actually increase it all the time. So it's amazing when we find a property that is poorly managed by the current owner, where we can actually improve a lot of the value of the property by simply doing what the previous owner was not doing properly. And so keep an eye on those properties that are in great condition, but it still needs improvements. Okay? And by being creative can get us very far when it comes to improving our cash flow. The same thing happens for businesses. As the cost of goods rise for consumers, businesses can adjust their pricing and benefit from inflation. This works because business owners and investors aren't selling time. They are selling products that hedge against inflation in real time. We are in control of those products. Employees aren't in control of their product time, nor are they in control of their money. The bank or mutual fund is. So that's why it's important to play the borrower game, right? And it's all about understanding good debt and bad debt. If you're in bad debt right now, where you have certain credit cards that are in high interest, and those items that you purchase with those credit cards are nothing more than draining your time, energy to pay for them, loans that are outstanding, then is okay, as long as you can understand that that is bad debt, and that in order to get out of that bad debt, you must understand good debt. And it's not about working harder to pay for those loans, but instead work smarter and acquire good debt. And then with the cash flow from the investments of the good debt, then you can pay that bad debt off and eventually come out of it as a whole and only have good debt working for us, creating passive income in any type of market. One other thing we do to hedge against inflation is invest in commodities. Recently, that has been energy, products like oil, a great investment when there is inflation, not great when there is deflation. Therefore, while we believe they are good investments for us, they are not good investments for everyone, especially people who are still learning about the economy and investing, who may not be able to react quickly to changing economic conditions. So again, here at Master Investor, we give you the financial literacy, the financial knowledge, so that you can take control over your finances and become an active investor, become an inside investor, a master investor. Someone that knows how to read a financial statement, someone that knows how to raise capital, someone that knows how to control your own assets, how to talk to the bank and get a loan, how to put a deal together and raise money from private investors, private lending, etc. Taking control over your own finances instead of just giving the money away and hoping that somebody's going to do something with it. We're going to show you exactly how you can actually be creative and start building your own asset column. Here at Master Investor, it's all about building our asset column on our financial statement. Okay? So remember, inflation is coming. Is most likely always coming. And so we just have to be prepared by getting the knowledge so that we can acquire cash flowing assets that produce passive income in any type of economy. And hopefully it's with other people's money, OPM, and then we get to pay that loan back with OPT, other people's time. Follow us on all platforms at Master Investor. If you think this is valuable, please leave us a comment. I'm going to talk to you on the next one. Knowledge is the new money. It does not take money to make money. Glad to be here again. How to profit from inflation. I'm going to leave the link below of the blog post. You're going to see some extra stuff that I added in there that will be beneficial. It's probably less than 10 minutes read. So go ahead and take a look at it so that you can compound what we talked about in this podcast. With much love, once again here, coming live from Master Investors headquarters. Glad to be here with y'all. And please follow us on all platforms at Master Investor. Leave your message below and stay strong. Thank you.